That's right. This is Black Power Media. This is the Remix Morning Show, in case you didn't know, where you come to get that boom bap breakfast, radical news, and all that right here. All right, let me introduce myself. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and now let me introduce you to our hosts. We have no other than Kamal K. Franklin. And no other than Jackie Loopman.
What up, what up, what up?
Peace, everybody. Peace, Africans.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
Of all tranquilities.
Of all tranquility. No.
What happened? What's that? Fall train? Is that a saying someplace?
That's not.
What did you?
It's proclivities.
Oh, proclivities.
All peace, Africans. Revolutionary greetings, Africans of all shades and proclivities.
Proclivities, that's the word.
And a friend on Twitter sent me some additional potential language for this special Black Power Media Remix morning show greeting. So I gotta get it down. I gotta get the flow
go
down.
for it.
Okay.
But I have to practice.
You gotta practice it first.
I gotta practice it, get the flow down. But yeah, that's
okay.
I have to stay committed to our revolutionary African greeting. So there you go.
And all the tranquilities. And they
not tranquility.
Oh, my bad.
May I say grand rising and Hotep Africans?
Okay.
That's
old school. Good old school. I like.
Did I hit him with the Hotep?
Yeah.
Hit him with the Hotep.
Hotep.
Holiday Inn. If you sorry, my bad.
You take a friend.
Yeah. You can't do that no more. You can't sing that lyric no more, apparently.
What?
Well, you know, if your girl starts acting up.
Why? Because if your girl start acting up, then you take
a friend. You know. Well, a word. True.
Hey, OPP.
But I act right all the time, so I don't have that problem. So what?
It's other people's problems. All right. Hey, yo, listen, it was last night. I got drugged into something I was not ready for.
You got drugged last night?
Not drugged. Nah. I put myself in a situation that I was not ready for. Check this out. Yes, that is me with my daughter.
This is the K-pop concert you went to.
This is the K-pop concert. Yes.
Do you know who the people were now? Who the band was?
Yeah, it was 1P Harmony. 1P Harmony. Yes.
Oh, such a good dad. You took one for the team, man. Because sorry, ain't no way in hell.
Did you recognize any of the songs?
No. I don't know none of them songs, man. But I do have a new one, BFF. That's one of their songs. They do this whole thing like this.
They do. They actually do that.
Let me guess. Your daughter makes you do it. You do it.
You know, because when my parents passed into my teens, I never got to do like anything with them, especially a concert. Yeah. I was like, man, let me. We always want to make sure we able to do stuff with our kids we wasn't able to do.
Wait a minute. What was the crowd like? What was the racial breakdown?
It was multicultural. It was you had Asians, Korean. Well, that's the same. We had blacks, Mexicans, whites. Everybody was up in there.
Oh, was that okay?
Yeah,
that's nice. That's cool.
So, and the line was around the block. I mean, I don't do lines, but I did it that night. So.
Who knew it'd be the Koreans that would bring us together?
Who knew?
Amazing.
Young Korean pop stars. Who knew?
Amazing.
That's what it is. Hey, let me go get ready for this break. Y'all go ahead and chop it up while I do that.
All right,
All right. Jackie, how are you doing?
Never wanted to go to Metallica concerts with me. I wonder why.
You think? When's the last time you went to one? I mean, do they still perform or no? They do.
Yeah, they still tour. Yeah, I'm too old for all that stuff.
Yeah, when was the last time you went to a metal concert? Period.
Woo. It really was like 20 years ago. It really No, that's not true. I just lied. Sorry. Probably uh 10 years ago, a friend of mine got tickets to one of these like old bands that have to keep touring because that's the only way
That's how they make their money.
money. And we were just kind of hanging out, and she's like, "Hey, they're playing at such and such." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Yeah, I regretted that the next day.
Oh, you regretted it?
I did. My head was killing me, and I didn't drink a lot. I wasn't drinking a lot, but I was just like, it was too many people in a small place, and it was very, very loud, and I was very, very annoyed, and I was just there were just too many drunk people around me in a small place, and us being pretty much the only black folks in the joint. It was like, we're not gonna have this conversation still, are we? What am I doing here? Don't you want to get punched in the throat? Leave me alone. Yeah.
So, what is your favorite all-time metal band? I just want to know this.
It is
Metallica.
Metallica with Seven Dust, probably a very close second. Very close second.
And my last question is: so, if you had the opportunity to go to a concert at this, would you go again, or you just done and whatever?
Okay, let me tell you what it would take to get me to a Metallica concert at 55 years old. I actually used to be a member of the Metallica fan club.
Oh,
So
damn! No, you was in it to win it.
I was that fan. So I would get, I was able to go backstage and meet them twice. Once at Merriweather Post Pavilion, and the second time at, I can't even remember the venue right now. But yeah, so I mean, it would have to be it would have to be front row seats, and backstage passes, transportation to and from the venue, and a booked hotel room. They don't have to be anywhere near any of that. I'm just saying, it's just I'm not standing up for 2 hours to do anything at 55 years old. Not for Metallica, not for Jesus. I'm not doing it.
Come on now.
I
I think for
need
Jesus, you might be. You might for
uh-uh.
Jesus. For
I
Jesus.
need my comfort. Okay, perhaps for
Maybe
Jesus.
for Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, perhaps for Jesus, but I need my comfort these days, and my days of festival style shows, standing up, it being in the pit. Now I like to watch a good pit.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
me wrong. I love to watch a good pit, but I'm not getting in there. Stay away from me. I need a seat. I need my drinks close. I need to be warm. I see. It's just too.
You
I'm
can
too
watch it on
tired.
TV. Just
I'm
watch it
not
on TV.
precisely. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
yeah. I
That's
agree. Yeah.
that's what I do. Exactly. They come out with a concert video. I turn it on. Hey, this is very nice.
Exactly.
Pause it when they get on my nerves. I'm tired of listening to it. Go to bed. Come back the next day. I think I
Little
want to check it
surround
out some more.
sound. Yeah, you can skip
Yeah.
all the bad songs, get to the good songs.
I can't. Yeah, I really can't. And I used to, because I dated the guitar player for a punk band here in DC, and he worked at the 930 Club, which was the place where all the bands came and played. I mean, I was immersed in that kind of band, kind of culture where you're always around these people. And I was a punk, and so he was a musician. So I was just immersed in that kind of
You were a
culture.
groupie.
Or yeah, what? No, wait now,
You
hold on. Did
no
you just
what
call me a
groupie?
groupie?
Groupie? You're a little groupie?
Oh my God. Do you know what
Group?
that means, sir?
No.
No.
What is a group? Wait, whoa, where does a groupie mean? It means you like to go and hang out.
No,
That doesn't mean.
no.
I mean, I don't think it really means that you get passed around, kind of thing. That's not like a. Is that
That
in?
is
Is that
precisely
in the
what it
definition of
means.
being a groupie?
Yes, that's exactly what
Oh,
it
my
means.
bad. I didn't know that. Okay, I take that back then. I just meant like use it in the culture kind of thing. Not that,
No, no, no,
no, my bad.
no.
The groupie has a particular meaning.
It does.
I haven't been to enough concerts,
When
obviously.
you're talking about metal bands and rock music, yeah, it has a particular meaning. And yeah, I kind of found that out one time by mistake. And yeah, that wasn't nice. But Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I was like,
the stories. Look, the
oh, you
the
got stories.
story
Wait a minute.
here.
You got a Wild Night story with the band?
No, well,
Oh,
yes, but not in that way.
no, my bad. But not in that way.
Yes, but not in that way. Yeah, I was always the one. I was always the chick who was cool with hanging out and going to drink and going to the bar and all that kind of stuff. But as soon as somebody was like, "Hey, come back to my tour bus," I'm like, "Look at the time. I think I hear my mom calling." I have to. Yeah, that was not. That was never my thing. That was never my thing.
Not bad. I didn't know that was the ear doctor. Come on up for a second. I see you laughing back there.
She was teetering in groupie
Teetering
territory.
in Groupieville? In Groupieville?
I was on the periphery of it. And here's the thing. I have no disrespect for the chicks
groupie.
who were I
Giving
had no
up the
disrespect
ass.
because that was just their thing. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's you. You do you. I'm over there, with the bottle of Jägermeister, like, y'all do you. I'm
So, ear doctor, is that true? Is that you? That's the formal definition.
I mean,
is
coming from a former rapper that did some performances and had ladies come backstage afterwards and be willing to give it up. Yes, that's a groupie. So yeah, I would say.
So dudes would never be called groupies at this stage.
There's some dude groupies like crazy.
Well, women don't usually.
Meg the Stallion got groupies. All these.
Okay. But don't she got to plug them to be group? I mean, don't she got to like invite them back to the hotel? And you saying she does?
Yeah,
I'm old. I don't know what's happening in the world.
And unless you kind of been in close to this kind of stuff, you would think that, because I think somebody said in the chat that they thought it was, the idea of a groupie was like this sexist, misogynistic kind of mischaracterization. No, no, baby. It was, there were I knew women who were and they were cool with it. And my mantra for my whole life has always been, if you cool with it, I'm cool with it. If nobody's getting hurt in the process, do you, and I got no judgment for you. And I've known some dudes who were, because there were a couple of female bands, of girl bands, or women who were in metal bands, or punk bands, and there were dudes who were groupies, and same thing.
Hey, Jackie, I was a Jet magazine groupie. You know the beauty of the month or week. Yeah,
you got smashed by Jet magazine girls?
No, I just had the pictures on the wall. You
couldn't. Apparently, that's not the groupie. Just because you masturbate
if they was in real life.
Just because you masturbate to the magazine, so don't make you a groupie. Apparently.
With that said, welcome out to Remix Morning Show, everybody, right here on Black Power Media. Let me give it up to Bahati, a new member, a YouTube member. Big up Bahati, if I said that right. You know how.
Hey, welcome.
You know what I'm saying? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get to our first break right here. So make sure y'all go get y'all coffee or whatever, but stay tuned. We got you right here on the Remix Morning Show. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Once again, make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all tell a friend to tell a friend it's on again. Every 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Black Power Media, you get a morning show. So we wake up, you wake up, we up. That's what it is. Also, go to patreon.com, drop some change in the bucket. With that said, you see where I'm at. I'm at the Barbershop, and we in here chopping it up. Play some music over there, man. The jukebox. All right. So, as I said, I went to a concert last night with boy bands. So I got to thinking, who are my top 5 boy bands? All right. So, first I wanted to go ahead and start with no other than, we'll start at the put it like this. Let's just start right here. Well, I wanted to go ahead and go to no other than Boys to Men, one of the best boy bands ever came out. They hit new heights when they were selling their stuff. They changed the game for real. All right, who else other than Boys to Men? Let's talk about no other than New Edition, one of the best boy bands ever. That's right. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. If I like the girl, who cares who you like? And now let's go ahead to one of my favorites also. We're going to go to Jodeci. A lot of people don't talk about it, but yes, I will put Jodeci as one of those bands. And next, let's take it to the dirty South, because a lot of people say I'm always biased. I'm going to say 112. Yeah, I know. Not the best picture, a little blurry. But other than that, you know who the best boy band ever was? No other than the Jackson 5. If you ain't got them at the top of your list, you're playing yourself. And coming off the bench, just because, you know, we love our black and brown people, big up to Menudo. That's right, Menudo. You know you got to say it like that. Menudo. Big up to all my people out there, and that is my top 5 boy bands. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do.
Menudo.
Now, is there a difference between a band and a group? Does the band people have to play instruments?
Nah.
This don't matter? Okay.
You just got to dance. You got to dance and sing.
You gotta dance.
To be a band.
I think Jodeci, though, I love the fact you put Jodeci. I think they are underrated, yo.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I agree with that. Yeah.
But you know, you got New Kids on the Block, you know, but we Black Power Media. I had to say.
Yeah, they can't be on that list. But I do that Right Stuff song does get stuck in your head, isn't it? Though?
The Right Stuff. Is that? That's them.
Wow.
Okay, I thought
is
that Vanessa Williams?
You know Vanessa Williams? Well, she has another song called The Right. It's not the same.
Come on. You know you're talking to?
I'm so confused now.
It is The Right Stuff by New Kids on the Block. But I think she did have something. I don't know. Don't give me.
Yeah, she does. But hers was a different song. It wasn't the same song. It's a different genre.
All right.
Hers was actually black R&B. This was like pop. It's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I hate all the boy bands, so I hate them all.
Same.
Okay. Well, with that said, appreciate y'all for coming out for this break, and I will catch you on the next one. Let's get with some news, y'all.
He trying to start us early. He wants us. Look. He wants us to start the news.
I know, right?
We got more to talk about.
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on this whole groupie conversation because it's just so funny that you didn't know it was a real thing.
Well, I knew that, I just thought there was a range of activities. Like, you just follow the band. I just thought, boom, that meant you could be a groupie. I didn't know you had to actually be, laying it down.
They're fans, and then they're,
yeah. I just thought Vicky Ryan had said, Kamal was giving straight home from school vibe. I was like, that's true, B. That was true.
It's very true. I can feel it. Then somebody, I saw your question. Somebody asked if I'd ever heard of Godsmack. I wouldn't be a metalhead if I hadn't. What kind of?
No.
Don't be
challenging her metal.
Don't be
challenging.
challenging. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah.
News time.
I think so. All right.
Smack a map. Welcome. Remix Morning Show. Jackie, Luke, man, Kamal Franklin here. You know what I'm saying? How are y'all doing? It is Thursday, our Friday. Y'all did such a great job. Such a great job yesterday with the super chats, with the extra dough. I'm not even going to say much about it. I'm not going to say much today about, it was so good yesterday. I'm going to let you get off your feet today, let you rest it up. You know what I'm saying? Take them heels off. I'm going to let you do all that today.
Daddy Kamak, What was with the suit jackets yesterday? I saw that. I'm like, was it LLC Day on Black Power Media? What was happening?
Apparently, there's a little teasing because I happened to go on Roland Martin's show, and I wore my suit jacket on, and so apparently, the unprofessional crowd that we have, they decided that they would put on their own suit jackets, like they've never seen a suit jacket before. I used to be quite professional back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I have
I
some
believe
remnants
it.
of that.
I
Well, not
believe it.
quite professional, but
Hmm.
I had to go to court, so I had to keep a suit in the back of the closet if I wanted just to change in and or out. It'd be like, oh God, I gotta go to court kind of thing. Yeah. So, but anyway, you got some stories? You got some stories, or you want me to take
Um,
the lead? What you want?
I I I want to talk about this a little bit, but I don't want to get deep into it because I want to do. This is what I'm going to do a show about on Friday. Um, I'm just going to share this page. At first, I wasn't going to pay any attention to this foolishness because before I endorse or support any kind of event, protest, whatever it is, I need to know who it is who is organizing it because I'm an organizer and I understand that propaganda is a very powerful thing. And some of the best ways to dupe folks is to have a really current or prescient sounding, seeming event that speaks to the issues that are going on right now and be real kind of shady, not very transparent about who's organized, who's behind it, right? Where the money's coming from. This is not true with this thing, because as you can see on the very logo of the rally. It's a big rally on February 19th, or at least it's billed to be a big rally here in DC on February 19th. Rage Against the War Machine, that is sponsored by the Libertarian Party and the People's Party. For I forget the whole name of them, and I stopped thinking about them several years ago for reasons. But I'm not going to get into that today. But what I do want to talk about this thing is that I think this is a perfect example of the real reason the left has a problem coalescing and growing and having any influence. Because what's happening now is what I've seen happen before is that this is a bunch of white people who are clearly very right wing, if not right wing adjacent. I don't care what anybody says about the Libertarian Party being all about limited government and civil liberties. Bullshit, y'all. They're right wing. And you ought to know that by now about them. But if you were not clear about that about the Libertarian Party, check out the Mises Caucus, MISES, within the Libertarian Party. They are overtly anti-immigrant, anti-trans. They're quite despicable. So this is a caucus within the Libertarian Party. So this gives you an idea of the kind of politics these people have. And what is happening now? Let me stop sharing this thing because it's starting to get on my nerves. Just looking at it just gets on my nerves. What's happening now is once again we're seeing left so-called anti-war activists jump on this bandwagon as if it's the thing that is going to convince the empire to stop sending money to Ukraine and free Julian Assange, because those are among their demands. And that's cool that that those demands are what they are. And there's some other demands that on the surface look real good. But when you think about it, Kamal, for me, as an organizer, this is about how much it would cost to be aligned with these people, how much it would cost us, already marginalized people, and how much it would cost the people we organize with who are even more marginalized than we are: queer people, trans people, disabled people. How much more it would cost them for us to compromise our principles, to elevate our profile on what by being involved in their little event, what it would cost us to compromise our principles and do that in exchange for being seen by a wider audience or whatever it is. These white leftists who are happy to be on the stage with these people don't realize that's what they're doing, because what happens when you, I think, Kamau, and tell me if I'm wrong, what I think happens when anti-imperialists align with groups like these, with policies and ideologies that are dangerous, that are overtly fascist and violent and harmful to the people we organize with and for, what we do is we give them legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
We give them a level of legitimacy that they couldn't have gotten without us, right? Which is why I think they have these kinds of things, to see who they can pull into their sphere so they can gain legitimacy from the people who come and speak at their event. And what I don't see happening, what I didn't see happening, and I'll talk more about this on Friday, what I didn't see happening was any of these people who I believe are compromising their principles by being involved in this thing. What I didn't see them doing was challenging any of these organizations, the Libertarian Party, the Mises Caucus, all of these other right-wing organizations that are backing this thing. I don't see these people challenging them on their policies that are harmful to folks that they don't normally speak to. That doesn't happen. So to me, this kind of thing is the reason why, and it is the reason why, and I think it is the major reason why the left in the United States does not grow, does not gain momentum, and doesn't have the influence that it could have, because the very same people who are saying we should be getting involved with this because at least they want to stop the war, isn't that the most important thing? These are the very same people who would never organize with us, and we've been here, right? So it's but whatever the latest white thing that comes along that says the right words, then that's the magic ticket that they think is going to get this system to do something different. But these very same people never bothered to organize with us, who've been doing this work the whole time.
Yeah, I always say that I think, I think you're right. Like, these folks here, just because there's some issues that we can probably agree upon, it doesn't mean that we have sort of a collective agreement on our overall politics. Because these same folks, they want the war machine, what they're now calling the war machine, to stop, and the rest of it. Their domestic policies are all about, like you said, kicking folks out. They're the same folks who are, want to make sure that that support like a DeSantis or a Trump. They're the same folks who want to like limit the ability to teach things like Black history in school. They're the same folks who support the police at home for the most part. Now, the libertarians obviously play. There's a bandwidth of what libertarian politics means, just like in every other area. So it's interesting a little bit, like, they're hitting hard on this anti-war thing, but because particularly the white libertarians have very racist views when it comes to what happens here in the United States. And part of this is this Trump thing of like, no war. They don't want war there. But over here, it's not like they're saying take that money and then use it to spend on the people's needs kind of thing. They just want to reduce government spending, period. And they want to support corporations, as long as corporations kind of like are playing fair with them, right? So they're happy. They don't mind if the rest of us are not getting resources or fair pay or you're getting to unionize, but they want to make sure that again, they want to go back to the 1950s, where for them that was the golden era of American capitalism, right? The working middle class white families were created. Whatever government resources went directly to white folks. Pensions were plentiful. There was sort of a bargain. It's like whatever U.S. imperialism had to offer, the white middle class, so they would help create a white middle class off of the goods of some of that imperialism. That was the bargain that was kind of struck. Well, that was the bargain that people said that was good enough for us. All that racism and all the rest of it, that Jim Crow, we fine with that. That don't impact us. We good with that. Keep them in their place. So it's interesting that that's really their golden era of like, oh, we can only get back to the nuclear family and the rest of it. Because for them, that was the era where they felt like they were on top. And when corporations was like, you know what? Well, all of y'all can suck egg or whatever like that. We need cheaper prices. The executives need to make more. The shareholders need to make more. When they stopped with the pensions, healthcare got cut back. When the manufacturing areas of the United States shut down, the industrialized areas shut down, and they moved that stuff to Mexico and then later to China and other places. When they felt the impact, all of a sudden these right-wing ideologies, which were already strong, became like sort of got a new whiff of life, right? Because folks felt they were feeling more pain. So I agree. Like I definitely want white leftists to organize white communities, right? But I don't want them to buy into to do that. You gotta really go in hard with the Trumpers or go on shows with the Trump folks, and that's how you're going to win them over. I'm like, no, you got to win them over on your own politics and your own platform, right? You can't be sharing platforms with people who will sell out your so-called allies or kill black folks or other folks in a moment's notice. You got to have your own platform in place, and you got to do that deep work. You can't win it by going there and hoping you're gonna talk some sense into people, or you're gonna show them how goofy liberals are. We all know liberals are goofy. And that, I'll wrap up last thing, which is always interesting to me, is that the so-called liberal left is dead, right? Because the liberals in the Democratic Party disagree with all of that.
Right.
These days, the liberals are the hawks. They are the
Exactly.
ones who are like, no, more war in Ukraine, right?
Right.
More prosecution, prosecute Julian Assange, right? They want more war machine. They are the ones pumping up. Like when you see the Democratic Convention, you see military after military, you see cop after cop. They'll diversify. They put some black cops on there, black
Right.
military, Latino cop, woman cop,
And
whatever,
rainbow flags and
rainbow
all
flags,
that.
it all. But in the end, they are now purely pro-military. They are the hawks now. So
Yeah. And I think this, just before we move to the next story, I think this ticked me off so much because I was having a conversation with someone, a white comrade, about this, and they were saying, well, this is why, this kind of ideological purity, as if that's a bad thing. That this is why the left can't, blaming us for having and when I say us, I do mean Africans who are, radical African organizers, blaming us for having the nerve to want to protect our people from harm. That just like, are y'all are serious? You mad because we don't want to? And as I found out more about some of the people that do have solid principles, and the conversations they had with with the organizers about some of the people who are speakers, very interesting. But you have to tune in Friday to hear about that. And just yeah, it's just this is a whole mess. So when people come to you with this whole, oh, the reason the left can't organize is because of these people with these ideological purity, nah, usually that mess comes from white people who mad that we don't want to hang out with their racist white friends. That's what
I
it
mean,
is.
I have ideological principles, but I'm not an ideologue, right? I will definitely work with people who don't agree with me. I will work with people who have differences than but I won't work with anybody who's a fascist. What I mean? I'm not
Oh
working
yeah.
with people whose fundamental politics are that they're okay with my enslavement, or they're okay with our folks being locked in the prison industrial complex, or they love cops and all that kind of like, I'll chop it up with you a little bit here and there, but we're not doing no joint programs
Oh
together.
no.
We're not walking hand in hand in the sunlight. Do you know what I mean? Like
You ain't putting my
I'm,
name
I'm
on
like,
nothing next
that's
to
just
yours.
crazy. Yeah, I was like, you're not putting that on me. But I mean, but definitely, I mean, I think part of the struggle is in terms of the various ideological positions we have. How do we work together in terms of on the left, right? What is the role? Like, how do we interact with folks who are even liberal left, right? What do we compromise on? When do we compromise, right? So all those things, I'm like, there's definitely got to be room for what is the tactic and strategy that moves us towards what we want. Like, how do we build a base without giving up our principles, right? I think there's always some room and or discussion at least to think through those things. But it's always got to be a hard line of like, at some point, me and the Proud Boys are not going to be doing events together or going showing up at marches together unless there's it's meant to be a confrontation, I guess, of some point. But it's not going to be like, hey, let's put our names on this flyer and get all the people out. It's like, that's going to be too confusing for me and I'm like, no, I can't work with that. So if y'all ever see that, to know it's a mistake, somebody lied, Kamal was drunk that night, whatever it was. There's just no
Somebody
way.
kidnapped our Kamal Camus cult leader.
Camus. They kidnapped Kamal and put Camus out there. It's like, is that Camus working with the right wingers?
So that's what I got. So what do you got?
Okay, so the first one I wanted to hit on was, the oil prices are going through the roof again. Everybody is struggling in terms of the being at the pump. And obviously it's inflation and everybody's suffering, everybody from us to, of course, the gas companies. But no, Shell's profits soared to $42 billion last year. It says the record haul pushed by high energy prices, and who creates the high energy prices, and a hunger for liquefied natural gas came as a new chief signaled a more balanced approach to renewable energy. I don't know what the fuck that means, but basic Shell, Europe's largest energy company, reported a bumper annual profit for 2022 on Thursday of 42.3 billion, more than double its 2020-21 total, and probably a record for any Britain-based company. As Britain's economy is struggling and people are struggling in Britain, the oil companies, though, are racking in the dough. And so quickly, the company, like other global energy giants, has been raking in cash because of high oil and natural gas prices, caused in part by the war in Ukraine. On Wednesday, ExxonMobil reported a $56 billion in annual profit, a record for the company. The numbers, which beat expectations, I'm sure they did, show that Shell is cashing in on a world leading position in liquefied natural gas. Russia's decision to cut off natural gas supplies and pipelines to Europe has triggered a boom for LNG, which is transported on ships and producers. So the thing that, obviously, I think the thing to take from this story is all that talk around, obviously, there being inflation, and in some ways, inflation can be real. But inflation does not mean that there is some natural costs that these companies have, and so then they are passing it on to the rest of us. It also means, it can also mean, and usually it does mean, that these companies are using these issues to artificially raise their prices, knowing that you don't got no place else to go, right? So you can't go to Russia no more. You can't go to Iran. There's other places because of the sanctions, which again, the West is not mad at, because who benefits but Western companies from that stuff? And so they are raking in record profits while people are paying upwards of, like, now it's back like $3.50 here in Georgia, California. I know it's back up to $5 or $6 a gallon. So these energy prices continue to go up, and we're being fed that it's going up because there's transportation issues, there's breaks in the mode of transportation or the pipeline or whatever. All of that stuff we're being told, but somehow they're getting record profits, not record revenue, record profits, which means that's the money they get to put back into shareholder pockets. That's the money they get to put back into the executive pockets.
Yeah, and this puts, I think, into context these commercials that I've been seeing, sponsored by the oil industries, about how important and integral to our everyday lives and comfort that oil products are. I'm sure people have seen them. There are these commercials where everything that is created by fossil fuels, by oil, whether it's plastics or other kinds of products, rubber and tires, all this kind of stuff. If we don't have them, if we don't use fossil fuels, all of those things would disappear. And as you watch the commercial, things like lipstick and makeup and hair products and tires on cars, they just fizzle away, dissolve away. And I was like, well, the first time I saw that commercial, I kind of thought, this is kind of a weird time to be. Why? This is weird. What are they selling? Because it's not like you have to sell they don't have a new product to convince people to buy, but that's not what the commercials are about. The commercials are these fossil fuel companies justifying their continued existence in an environment, in a global environment that is not only demanding that societies move away from fossil fuels because they were the cause for a climate change in the first place, but also because people have figured out that these gas prices, that's not inflation, that's price gouging. And I just find that the coincidence of these commercials popping up at the same time these oil companies are making record profits in the middle of a conflict where Russia has, you know, entered into an agreement with Iran to join the SWIFT currency system. So Russia's not having a problem delivering oil to anybody who wants to buy it, as long as it's not the United States in U.S. dollars. It's an interesting coincidence that the fossil fuel industry has this huge marketing campaign, at least in the U.S., to justify their continued existence. It's
Yeah,
wild.
these fossil fuel companies, these oil companies, they're not going anywhere. No time. Then you're gonna have to push them down. Basically, you got strangle them and all that kind of stuff. They're not going nowhere on their own. Not until they corner the market on whatever new energy system is developed, right? That's the only way you'll see a decrease in oil dependency when these huge companies make some decision that they're going to invest totally, not in any nonsense like renewable oil energy, because that stuff isn't clean. But if they find some system or some way that they can mass produce other than oil, which can make some claim to climate support or help, that's the only way, right? Which usually doesn't, which I don't even know how well it exists other than solar and some other systems. Everything else they got to dig in the ground, right? They dig it in the ground. They make in big holes like coal and all that kind of stuff. So until something like that is found and they can show that market, then you'll see some difference in commercial advertising. Up until then, anything you see around climate cleanness or clean fuel usage, that's all marketing, because all of their lobbyists are in DC saying whatever you do, don't mess with the spigot. That's not turn that off, right?
Mhm.
And that's not find new ways of finding energy unless we control that market up front.
Yeah, and I have to correct myself. I apologize. Iran and Russia left the SWIFT system. The SWIFT system is the current
I thought, yeah.
system of international exchange. They left the SWIFT system for greener pastures so that they can trade in currency that's not the U.S. dollar. Fantastic.
Yeah. That's one of the big holdbacks is like if these other nation states find another system that they can do trading on that's outside the European/American controlled system, then they are less susceptible to the sanctions that these folks put on them. And that's huge if they can do that, right? If China, Russia, Iran, just think of all the other nations, Cuba, Venezuela, all the other nation states with huge populations. If they somehow band together and created another system to do interacting with trade, that is a huge blow to Western hegemony, because then you can no longer sanction people for not following your will, because they've now created a system where their banks integrate with each other and say, this is how we move money. And like you said, not based on the dollar, but either based on a basket of currency, which is being discussed in the BRICS group, or based on even the Chinese yen, right? So those folks are looking for, and obviously it's something that's been brewing for a long time. And so if they find, like, leaving obviously is great for them, but if they find that other system, which other groups, other countries decide to join on to, then it creates that alternative that they are no longer dependent on the West for bank exchanges, trading, money exchanges, all that kind of stuff, hard currency. All of that goes away, and it does create the multipolar world, which is better for all of us in terms of those of us, particularly who are fighting liberation struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got one more. You want me to beg
No,
with
you
one
go ahead.
more? Okay. Where my thing at though?
I don't know what you did with your thing, sir.
Oh,
I'm not in
I mean,
charge.
I
Go
was,
ahead.
I wasn't a groupie, so
I'm
I
just
didn't
saying,
do a lot with my thing
this is
during that
why I'm not in charge of your thing. See?
time period. Were you? I mean,
Pause.
I
my
have a feeling
bad.
this
My
groupie
bad.
conversation makes the ear doctor very uncomfortable.
I don't know. I think he's got some stories to share besides
I don't know why.
the Ebony magazine things. So here we go with the effect of Ron DeSantis and right wing Republicans. AP African American Study courses is watered down after pressure from Governor Ron DeSantis. In the revised syllabus for the course, the College Board made substantial revisions to sections criticized by the Florida Republicans administration. And so it says the College Board has revised its framework for an advanced placement African American Studies course, cutting material that Florida Governor DeSantis administration has said had a left-wing bias. The College Board and many of the academic experts consulted about the framework insisted that they would not give in to political pressure and that the revisions had long been planned. Okay. But the changes released Wednesday at the start of Black History Month make concessions that directly address conservative concerns. And so really quickly, in the revised syllabus, the College Board, a nonprofit that oversees the AP program nationwide, removed the names of several Black authors identified as problematic by Florida officials. State officials announced last month that they had rejected the course because of 6 areas of concern: Black queer studies, intersectionality, movement for Black lives, Black feminism, literary thought, the reparations movement, and the Black struggle in the 21st century. The works by Kimberly Crenshaw, Bell Hooks, Angela Davis, and other Black authors. In the revised syllabus, the College Board substantially revised sections about intersectionality, and gone is the section about the movement for Black lives. So no matter what I even think, obviously of some of those organizations and some of the organizing, the fact that, for right-wing Republicans, that's left, and even that's not good enough for them, right? Even that is something that they think needs to be taken out. And this same thing is happening in different ways. Folks should understand, like, for high school and below textbooks, and this is AP classes, so these are special classes. But even in regular school textbooks, Texas, obviously a right-wing conservative state, particularly in terms of its governance, has a certain dominance when it comes to textbook history or textbooks being written, because they buy so much of it. And so when they complain to the textbook companies about what's in there, the textbook companies go back and revise those books. And so that doesn't just mean revision for Texas. For other markets, which are considered so-called smaller markets, right? Less people, those markets have no choice but to accept the same books, because they're not making new books for the smaller markets. They're making them from the big markets, and then they used to sell those to everybody else. And so the amount of power that right-wing governors have or states have when it comes to the education of our people, right? In public schools, the education of our people in terms of specialized classes around the education that most concerns us, our history, is enormous, right? They tell a tale. We don't tell a tale. They tell a tale. They tell us what our history is or what should be taught. And again, another overt, obvious confirmation of what we lack in terms of control, where even the lessons about who we are, what we should be teaching, aren't debated amongst us as a group of like, this is what's good for our kids. This is what we want to put in there. This is what we think they should learn. This is what we counterbalance in terms of this. These are the different ways in which we teach it so that folks have a good understanding of even the debates within the larger Black community on certain things. We don't get to discuss or have those really have that driven by us. That's driven by other folks and their propaganda and their model and what they want to do to make sure that we are stuck in their systems. So we have to just keep understanding that.
Yeah, this whole conversation about this AP Black History, African American, whatever it's called, understanding that AP classes are populated by and taught by mostly white folks, right? In most AP classes, the students are mostly white. I Most AP instructors are mostly white. And this is because of the bias in the public school system. There are not a lot of Black kids in AP curriculum, not because Black kids are not intelligent, it's because of the racial bias in the public school, in the public education uh, um, uh, uh, environment, right? We know this. That's one part of this. So we're talking about a course that most of our kids wouldn't even see anyway, right? Would not be so that's one part of it. Then the other part of this, as you know, we talk about now the college board. I don't know who these people are. I don't know who's on the college board. I don't know anything about these folks, but the fact that they did not defend their own curriculum for an advanced placement. Now this is the idea that the discussion of history as it happened and the historical importance, whether we agree with these elements or not, of things that just happened, people that just did things. The idea that those discussions are advanced in any way is kind of ludicrous to me, because that's just true. These things happen. These people did these things, and the things they did had implications on the larger society. That is history.
Yeah.
So
The idea to say that George Washington was a enslaver of African people is controversial, is ridiculous. Or even that Thomas Jefferson was a rapist.
I mean, because it's true though. I can't even.
Yeah, it's like, is that controversial? I don't understand how that's controversial. Under what definition of rape is he not a rapist?
I can't help that your feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
That your little founding father isn't who you have believed him to be. But it's true though that these people were enslavers and rapists, and that's so there's that's that part of it. But then, the fact that these folks didn't even defend. These are supposed to be the smart, intellectual, educated people who came up with this advanced curriculum, and they couldn't even defend it. Not because they could not, they chose not to. And that's obvious. So this always leads me to, and this is why I don't even care who these people are. I don't care who they are. I don't care where they come from. I don't care what their political ideology is. I don't care what Ron DeSantis does. I don't care, because this always comes back to, what are we going to do about taking control of the education of our children? When it's now that it should be painfully obvious to all of us that we can't trust none of these mugs to tell the truth about the history of our people in this country to none of our kids, none. Because if they're doing this with an advanced placement class, what exactly do you think they're telling our kids in regular history class? Come on.
In fact, real quick, not to our kids and not even to their own kids, because all they're doing is propagandizing them to believe the same lies. But somebody who does not tell lies, who's always here to be a truth take. Well, let me take that.
Tell her. Yeah.
Well, number one, I was gonna do a whole thing. I'm gonna stop.
I didn't want you to
intro. You want the intro? So it'll be like a Nation of Islam intro. So
nah.
You don't want that?
Nah. But yo, the victor writes the stories. And listen, if I was a colonizer, listen, they got a good book. Y'all wouldn't know y'all names, y'all culture. I'm talking about y'all be calling yourself Luke, Mary, John. I mean, oh, wait a minute. That's what we do already.
They listen to you. That all originated from you.
That's a good man. Y'all would not know nothing. I don't even know where I would start your history off. I would just say y'all are some of the greatest workers ever. And damn, that's what they did.
That's what they do.
My bad. Man. Whew. Boy,
Nope.
I need to take a break after that. Listen, let's go ahead and take a break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Did I get that? Hold on. Let's do that again. Show. Big up all my prisoners of war that is still stuck here in America. That's right. Don't forget it now. We are numbers, Social Security numbers. Don't get it twisted just because you got a little Robert Fudge the Third name and all that stuff. Don't get it twisted. All right, yo, check this out. So what we're gonna do right here is you see we got Sunday's radio in the background. What I wanted to do is go ahead and it's Black History Month. You know, every month is Black History Month. We got so much history. But let me just go ahead and give y'all a little mix right here, right now. We was talking about black boy bands. Let's see how this would sound if it was a black boy band over some R&B. Let's do it like this.
My girl's like candy, a candy tree. She knocks real hot up off my feet. He's so fine at the beat. I know this girl is just honey. Candy girl, I'm the world. Your love so sweet. You're a special treat. Candy girl, all I want to say.
And I told you like I told all of them. What you say to me is just paper thin.
Don't you really care? Do you really need me? And when you always there?
All right. With that said, let's go ahead and get back. That's a little remix right there on the Remix Morning Show. New edition Candy Girl and Paper Thin MC Light. With that said, let's take flight back to our host with the most. Let's go.
What up?
What
Hey, look who dropped in.
I know.
Chama Chunga.
Look what the ants drug in. It was good.
But you know, we got over 280, so they're gonna be a mix at the end. Now that's not suffice for a mix, right?
That's it. We got you.
Oh,
I
right.
got you.
Oh. There's gonna be some problems. There's gonna be some problems.
Whatever, man.
Front on the mix.
I feel like it. I feel like you got to remind him constantly.
Wow.
Like, he's got work to do. Like you got drugs to sell. You got things to do afterwards. So
What
apparently,
did you just say?
Dude got it. Dude got a new sweatshirt from Marshalls, and now he's trying to flex.
Okay.
Man,
Okay.
anyway.
it is the Marshalls. You like
Listen, B, I be knowing. All right, I catch you on that break.
That's their new Roland Martin collection at Marshalls. Anyway, what's happening? What's good, y'all? What the deal is?
Chilling. How you feeling?
Oh my gosh.
Man, I'm alive on arrival. Look like y'all was having too much fun. I'm like, yo, why do I feel left out? Let me join the party.
I don't
We
know.
love when you join the party.
Okay.
Do we though? Do we?
Wow. We going out like that, Jackie? It was all
I
good
have
just
to
a
be.
week
I have
ago.
to be true to. I have to be true to my cult leader, Camus.
Oh yeah, your cult leader Camus. I forgot Camus started the cult. The code of Camus.
I need more cult followers and stuff like that. We're gonna get back to the
can't help
news,
you,
but
brother.
you know, we need some. I love seeing the chat. I'm getting all the Camus. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is our new thing. This is our new thing.
Okay.
And I got to
see
make
it.
it to like when I do like a sound like a Camus sound, all the Camus. They
Okay.
gotta, like the Beehive type of shit. They got to attack somewhere on social media against all my
So-
enemies, kind of thing.
Is it gonna sound like a cow? Camus. Like
Yeah,
that?
I mean, this is the Camus
This
clan.
is the
you know what
part.
I'm saying?
Yep. This.
You're not down with that
yeah.
part? Yeah.
Nope.
The Camus
No.
clan? That's kind of a little bit
Stick
too.
with
Yeah.
ants, baby.
Too many Ks. It's too close to the third K. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but let's not do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
My bad. I'll try.
Heard they got the Camus merch coming. That's cool.
I love
You
it.
know what I mean?
I love it.
It
It's
works,
a
it
thing.
works.
It's a thing now. It's a thing.
We got to
Okay.
get Camus groupies though.
As long as y'all attack my enemies, I need to be like the Beehive, like, you know, get them, and y'all like, you know, swarm.
That's how it's gonna go.
That's what I need. So, get them off of social media, do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, come to their house, clap a couple of times. I need all
No
that.
doubt. Well, shout out to all the remixers and the communities out there. You know what I mean?
Communities. Wow.
Came here to represent, you know what I mean? The Camus in the building. Anyway,
Ooh,
glad
Got
you
some
got
more
your coat
stories?
together. I want to I'm gonna be selfish because I have a story. And
Okay.
it's not really a story. It's like a family friend lost their daughter in
Oh.
in one of those mass shootings in what do you call it, in California. And I know that she has a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old, so 26-year-old sister. Um, and I told her folks that I would definitely spread the word because they're trying to get her. It happened in California, but they're trying to get her back to Arizona. She's 26 years old, so I think they in this particular mass shooting they killed 3 people and 4 people were hurt. So I wanted to definitely spread the word and see if folks can assist in some type of monetary donation. Because when I was asked about it, it dawned on me. I'm like, okay, we do have a platform. You know what I'm saying? And we often complain about a lot of these celebrities not supporting, causes and whatnot. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and the least we can do is put it out there to our folks. So for folks out there that have it in their heart and their spirit, this young sister whose name is Destiny Howard. She was 26 years old and murdered. She was out with her friends and, trying to celebrate like young folks do. And someone, they don't know who at this particular moment, they weren't caught, shot up the space where they were at. And she was one of 3 people that was murdered. And her name was Destiny. She's a young sister, a young mother of 3. I believe the children are 7, 5, and 1, or 6, 7, 5, and 1, something of that nature. But I've been knowing her family for quite a while, and as parents, we hate to see it happen to any human, but we definitely hate to see friends and loved ones hurt. So I wanted to put that out there, and hopefully folks in the chat can support her GoFundMe. They're looking to get her body back to Arizona and to assist with whatever it costs. So I wanted to point that out. That really wasn't a story, but at the same time,
But
I
it was
wanted
worth
to.
it,
Yeah. So if you all have it in your hearts right now, definitely support this sister. Her name is Destiny, and our prayers go out to her and the family.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank you for
yeah.
bringing this to us, Kalanji. We laugh and joke a lot on this platform, and that's a great thing. And I consider us family. But if we can't use the opportunities that we've been given to come together and raise consciousness to also take care of our people, then I think we're pretty much, we're just jokes. It's just jokes if we can't use this medium and this platform and this opportunity to really help and support our folks. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that.
No doubt. And we're going on 2 years for folks who aren't who don't know. Our 2-year anniversary will be of BPM, of Black Power Media. It's coming up in a couple weeks. It's on the 17th of February, which is the day that UEP Newton was born. It's also the day that Khalid Abdul Muhammad made his transition. And we're talking about, and I don't know if Kamal already spoke on it, but we're talking about doing a live event here in the Atlanta area. So if you all are in Atlanta or looking to travel to Atlanta, it's a limit. We have limited seating, but if you're interested, definitely hit us up, and we'll see if we can get you a pass to check out some of your favorite hosts on the Black Power Media network. So that'll be on the 17th. I believe that's a Friday. Is that right, Kwaf?
Yeah, I think it's a Friday. Yeah.
So,
And as we think, our man Jared's gonna come into town.
Okay.
And so like all four of us and other guest hosts who will come,
Yeah,
you get to see your favorite folks, organizers, hosts, what a podcast hosts, whatever the hell we do. You get to see it live. You get to yell us instead of yelling at us in the chat. You get to yell at us in person.
yes.
We get to have like fights and conflict and
All
debates
that. All that.
in person.
In
So
person.
I'm looking forward to it. I want folks to come out. The flyer will be hitting the streets soon. So folks keep that in mind.
And I just want to give you all, want to forewarn you, don't yell too loud. I just look like this. A little different online than in person. So, you know, don't not too much yelling. You know, we're cool with it, but don't just get carried away. Or you might get carried away. Anyway, hopefully we'll get Jackie Lukman and some of the other folks to come join us in this effort. So you know, yeah. So check us out.
All right, so I got a story for us here. Speaking of people who really don't do shit for Black people, I just don't know why that was a segue, but I just had one. So Steph Curry and his wife oppose upzoning, I think it's Atherton property near their home. So the family opposes the 23 Oakwood development near their home. This is supposed to be an affordable housing development. And so it says Atherton residents Stephen and his wife's name is it Aisha?
Aisha.
Aisha Curry, the Golden State Warriors star, and his entrepreneur wife have weighed in on a site slated for multifamily housing development in the town's proposed state-mandated housing element, which is due to the state next week. The town has opted to upzone a 1.5-acre lot at 23 Oakwood Boulevard, where there is currently a single-family home. The property owner plans to develop up to 16 townhouses. The Currys sent a letter opposing the project, saying they had major concerns in terms of both privacy and safety, with 3-story townhomes looming behind us. They asked the town at minimum to build taller fencing and landscaping to protect viewers into their property. And then quickly it says, I guess further the letter says, as Atherton residents, we have been following along with the housing element updates with the special interest in the 23 Oakwood property. They vote in their letter. We hesitate to add to the not in our backyard literally rhetoric, but that is what you're doing. But we wanted to send a note before today's meeting. Safety and privacy for us and our kids, not housing for poor or working class people, continues to be our top priority and one of the biggest reasons we chose Atherton as home. And so basically a bunch of rich people, as my man Diallo would say, including a rich ball chaser. And they have here a picture of him and his family at a march in 2020 at a demonstration for racial justice. But that only, goes so far. Esoterically, of course, folks want racial justice. But if they think it's going to impact their comfort, their property values, if they have their own imagery of what they think a working class or poor person, I mean, we're talking about townhomes. They're not talking about building projects. They're talking about townhomes. You know what I'm saying? So even that for them is too low class to be put next to their multi-million-dollar property.
But look at capitalism. Here it is. You saying it's 1.5 acres, correct?
Yeah.
So they're concerned about this 1.5 acre property, and they're writing this letter about that. I'd like to know how many ball players wrote letters about this 85 acre property in Atlanta that they're building Cop City on. You understand what I'm saying? So no one should be concerned about their safety. You know what I mean? Even though the police are murdering 1,100 plus people a year across America, but we should feel sorry for poor Steph and Aisha because they're going to have neighbors.
Right. Just because, these neighbors aren't filthy rich like them and their current neighbors. So, of course, because they're not filthy rich like them, that means crime.
Right. But they're talking about marching for racial justice. Is racial justice as long as your black ass ain't too close to my property because of the fact that we're concerned about our safety? Get cameras, get a dog, get a gun, get security, or whatever you have to do. Rick Ross is here in Atlanta. He has Georgia State Patrol cops parked outside of his home 24 hours a day, just like the governor's mansion. In fact, the governor's mansion, to my understanding, has one Georgia State Patrol. But Rick Ross in Fairburn, Georgia, whose home was formerly Evander Holyfield's, has two. Now, this is the guy that used to turn keys. Then he started flipping keys and rapping about it, but he has police security. So how the song go? This is America. We gotta love it, man. Black folks are losing their goddamn mind.
And this is why I have a problem with this whole idea of racial justice and the people
Yes.
who, because if you're not talking about anti-capitalism and anti-imperialism, you get people like these folks, Steph Curry, and we love Black people. We'll march for racial justice. Just don't move next door to us. Just don't bring your ass next door to our property.
Hey, the more the words of my little brother, Steph D's. Anyway, what else we got going? What else we got
I got
going
a story
on?
about a worker who won some money back. So let me bring this up real quick. So Denver woman wins. I hate these little things. Denver woman, the pay wasn't right. Denver woman wins large wage case. And so basically the story is a Denver jury has ruled a former caretaker at an area assisted living center was underpaid for a 7-year span. Her attorney says the monetary award to the employees is likely to range between $325,000 to $762,000, an amount he calls the largest individual wage theft case in the country. And it says it needs to serve as a warning to employers to tell them there's real world liability if they violate wage theft laws, said the attorney. And it says wage theft is defined as non-payment of wages, underpayment. And let me just see if I can get this story on real quick. I'll play it.
Denver assisted living home.
I enjoyed it. It came like a second nature to me.
Inside the house, she mostly worked alone 24/7 for days on end, with the owners not paying her overtime.
I felt that they weren't paying me, not even minimum wage when I would calculate the hours.
After years of waiting for relief, AO finally sued the owners. And last month, a civil jury sided with the 34-year-old, ruling she'd been shortchanged for years with no minimum wage and no overtime. It's expected she will ultimately be awarded at least $325,000.
And the jury, I felt like they heard my story. They looked at the evidence and they, sided with, what was right.
So that's what we don't need to hear the rest of the longer part of it, but that's so what's really important there is folks are, and this is a caretaker, right? This is somebody who if they're taking care of you or whoever, that means that's time they're not spending with their own family. That's time they're not spending with their own kids or their own loved ones. And so for them not to be compensated, not fairly compensated, but not given overtime, probably lied and told oh, that's going to be coming soon, and they still didn't give it to them, or some other stories, so and this happens all over the country, right? We're in the process here in Atlanta of talking about starting a worker center so that we can also help support folks who are like individuals. They feel like they got no other support. They can't find lawyers to take their cases, because this happens all across the country all the time. And so an individual win is fantastic, but we also need to find ways to provide some group wins for people. Because, again, it sounds like people think, oh, she got 325. That's a lot. I mean, how many years did this go on that she was not awarded a fair salary, right? That she was not given overtime. So all this stuff like this ends to the idea, this is how capitalism works, right? If they can exploit the workers, they're going to exploit the workers. And until the workers are organized and can fight back, they're going to continue to get exploited.
Yeah, and it's indentured servitude. That's what it is. It's like, we're getting, you're a wage slave, and we don't even want to, you're taking care of us, like you said, but we don't want to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? That's awfully white of these people.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about, the super exploitation of Black women in particular. And how, for women in general in the capitalist system, our labor in raising the babies and taking care of the home is expected to be free. And then you have the super exploitation of Black women in particular, where women who are sometimes not even rich white women and women of other groups have been known to do exactly this, to hire Black women to do that work around the house. In this case, this is a home health aide, and then pay them exploitative wages, turn around and exploit someone else, even as women. They are a part of a group of exploited people. So I was just reminded, this is just another example of the super exploitation of Black women in particular, where we're forced to sell our labor too, but usually we are forced to sell our labor in the domestic areas. And in today's capitalist climate, home healthcare workers and construction workers are the two areas of labor that see the highest incident of wage theft, because these are quote unquote unskilled laborers that folks think don't have any options, so they can it's easier to rip them off.
This
So
reminds me.
just another that you're right, another example of life under capitalism and why capitalism has to end.
Yeah, this reminds me of the African women on the plantation who breastfed these slave master babies, and those slave masters babies grew up to beat them and exploit them and call them niggas. So this is an example of how America treats Black people as a whole, how they treat Africans as a whole, and not just African people, just African and other quote unquote colonized and oppressed people. They just they utilize their skills, and they don't want to pay them jack shit. I was listening to I was in a grocery store here in Atlanta recently, and I heard these white dudes talking. They said, "Yeah, we got to go get some of the Mexicans from the Home Depot. You know what I mean, to help move some of this stuff, whatever. Like, yeah, they don't charge much, this and that." And I'm just sitting there listening to them, and they had no problem with saying this, as if like, look, we don't want to pay shit, but it is a stereotype or whatever the situation is, that you have a group of people that you can go to who are looking for work, and you're willing to undercut and underpay them. So you purposely going there because you don't want to give them their value and their worth. It was difficult for me not to knock the aisle of canned goods over on them, but
That's the kind of solidarity we need.
True indeed. I'm like, man, I should knock all of this shit over on them real quick, but I don't know what a camera is.
Hey, I don't know what y'all think y'all getting into, but we got new members.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
We appreciate you, Dwayne Jefferson. Dwayne Jefferson. Wait a minute, are we related?
Oh,
where you live at, Dwayne?
You're not related to Thomas, are y'all?
As y'all work that out, we're gonna bring back up the ear doctor for another quick break.
Yo, and big up to ZZ Lion Dad. 5 beans. Welcome to the A. BPM sounds nice. The Currys.
Yeah, baby.
Ricky Rose. They don't want that heat off of Old Nat. You know what it is.
Okay. ZZ Lion Daddy over by Old Nat. He basically, if y'all don't know, he like, look, don't play with me. I'm down the street.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break right here. But what was it? Wage theft? Come on, man. America's the biggest wage thieves ever. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. That ain't the right one. Damn it.
Look at you messing up the break. Let me just do that.
Go ahead and do that. As I talk about the Remix Morning Show. There's a lot of buttons around here, man. Big up to everybody out there. Go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, all them buttons down there. Any button you see except leaving this show, because we still got some time. We still got a whole 39 minutes left, so rock with us. With that said, always I talk to my people out there and I say, yo, send me some music if you got some bangers, send it to me and I will most likely play it. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, let me go ahead and put that up. If you got some dope music or you know some artists or something that you want to put on, send it over here to Media Black Power and I will check it out. With that said, I do have an artist that sent in some music. I played their music a little bit the other day, but I had it on mute. Excuse me for being me. But let's get it in for our people right here, King Ruler. That's right, King Ruler. He has this song right here called Peace of Mind. Check it out. King Ruler.
Is that asking too much? If not, then tell me what's stopping you from giving what you want from us. I'm equally afraid of a cop killing me as I am of a brother in my community. Where can we go and not be seen as low-hanging fruit, bullseye on our back, last to get hired, first to get fired? Unless we entertain them, that's when we admire. No matter the household, Evans or Huxtables, we born into a world brainwashed and sold. Us as violent, sexualized deadbeats, narcissistically don't provide for seeds. When he tries to father, he's denied by course the mother, bitter relatives on the side. Black men have feelings like everybody else. See us as human beings, not just a check or.
All right. Okay, that's King Ruler. Like I said, you see right there, you can follow him at King Ruler Music. He has a project called The Jewelry Box, straight out of Los Angeles. Label is Indigenous Rhythms. So check that brother out. With that said, let's go ahead and get back to our Remix Morning Crew. Yep.
Who this dude? Your cousin? How come you get like 2 or 3 shots at the apple? How come you keep playing his music over and over again?
Yo, you remember last time I played it, I hit the mute button. So I ain't give.
Yeah, you should have hit the mute button again.
Damn. Y'all. What? I mean, it was all right. He just got to work on his flow to me. He got
to work on his politics to me.
I'm just saying, this is why conscious music died. You know what I'm saying? It's not all on him. You know, I don't know the brother. He's doing his thing. But I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, cool, man. Y'all ain't even get a man.
That's why, you know, that's why people listen to gangster rap these days. You know what I'm saying?
It's because sometimes, I get you. Sometimes conscious rappers concentrate too much on the lyrics and getting the message in there and don't get with the flow and realize you got to be able to do both. You know what I'm saying? To deliver it right.
It's just a little standard. I feel like it's standard at this stage. You know what I mean? Like we've heard it, you know, that way.
That's funny because we was working on one of our music projects. This dude got mad at me and he tried to call me out on stage while I'm in the building. So he's like, yeah, Kalonji be talking all that RBG stuff. I said on my music, he started naming people join on it. So I guess he forgot that I'm going to be up speaking next. So I got up there and I'm like, dude, listen, your shit is garbage. Just because you're saying positive things and it's quote unquote conscious, the shit is whack. You know what I'm saying? And I said it in front of everybody and I said, yo, you could have came to me on the side and I'd have told you, you know, to work on your shit. But since you want to make it a public affair, you know what I'm saying? I said, matter of fact, yo, my shit ain't garbage. I said, listen, take the music to the DJ right now. I'm gonna take 5 minutes out of my time. Let the crowd, you know, decide if that should go on my project. It wasn't a good thing, man. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't come for it, brother. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, yo, just because you're saying something positive or conscious or whatever. And I'm not talking about the brother that's just up there. I didn't really catch him, but you know, yeah, man. I mean, we're up against capitalism. We're up against imperialism. We have to at least be able to compete with everything we doing, man. If we're out there trying to organize, listen, man, the dusty ass uniforms and the boots, that shit's corny. You know what I'm saying? It's played out. You're not going to try to just run out here with your jug of waters and your staffs and shit and your big ass dashikis. And I'm pro dashikis and I'm pro African culture. But don't be trying to get mad at the rest of the world because your square ass decided to get down with the movement. And now all of a sudden, you was corny before you got conscious. Now all of a sudden, hey, you mad at everybody else because they ain't following your goofy ass. Come on, man. Step your game up, man. That's how we do this thing around here.
Talk that talk, Kalonji.
This the kind of comradeship we need.
Tell you what God love, the truth. Come on, man. Y'all know what I'm
Okay.
talking about out there. Chat, can I get an
Cool.
amen? Can I get a witness out there?
Ashe.
Stop playing out here, man.
Crazy.
Bugging. Get out of
I'm
here,
cool
man.
with the dude's flow. It's fine. It was laid back, and
Truths.
he's saying some positive things. But as soon as people conflate racist police terrorism in this white supremacist patriarchal capitalist system and intra-community violence as if it's on the same level, I'm sorry, you done fucked up immediately. You just stop. Stop rapping. Stop. I'm gonna pull the plug out. Let me explain this to you. Don't ever say that again. Now,
we talk about flow. Jackie said, "Let me get on these lyrics real quick."
Tell him.
This isn't even hard. This isn't difficult. This is not hard. It's not hard.
For real.
Wow.
Hey,
well,
and go check out the rap of Siafu so I can tell you what I'm talking about.
Rap
of Siafu.
Kamal loves it.
You know what I mean? In case some of y'all
I'm getting I'm alive now. I'm alive.
Hey, I hope this doesn't make people not want to send music in. Please continue to send music in.
Any publicity is good publicity.
No,
That's right.
Listening to what those lyrics are before you send.
Send me your 13-year-old daughter who thinks she's the next Beyonce. I want to hear that music.
Yeah, some R&B or something.
Rip that shit apart. I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
But you know what though, and the thing is, on the real, what your man say, I love y'all. That's why I talk this way. but don't mess up my eardrums. Don't make me bump some shit that's whack. And you know it's whack. Yo, listen, if the only people bumping your shit is the cats in the studio with you, it is a telltale sign. You know what I mean? It's a telltale sign. Some of y'all don't like that. I'm sorry.
Hey, Kalaji, then they do this. Yo, that was crazy.
Right. It was doper than the last track.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I'm all in here. Pass the weed. I'm all in here. Yeah. You bringing up everybody.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. I'm a metalhead, so I listen to some clearly fucked up lyrics, right? Just have no social redeeming qualities whatsoever. So if you're gonna do that kind of thing, do that kind of thing and just do that. But don't come half-stepping with the faux consciousness and getting your politics all mixed up and down and blaming the victims of capitalism and claiming that that's but don't do that. Don't do that.
Listen, I mean, that's how hip hop for the last 30 years. I feel like it's been mostly just, I mean, even a lot of fucked up lyrics, but with some heavy beats and and some great flow and some great flow and the ability to flip a line or a word and the rest of it. Then you're like, oh damn. But then I listen 20 years later, it's like, I can't play that no more.
But I'm gonna give y'all
kids in the car, like I'm turning that down.
I'm gonna give y'all something to do with wax CDs, right? I used to take wax CDs, like the grease that get on your stove or the hood or whatever. Those whack ass CDs are good to scrub that off. I'm telling you, man, it works better. It works better than SOS pads. Is this cat? I'm not gonna say his name. You know what time it is. I told him one time. You know what I mean? But I use his CD to this day.
He's having a flashback. He's having a flashback to that moment on stage.
Yes. Come on, man.
Hey, and they good cup holders. I mean, like when you don't want to mess up your table, they good.
I don't even want to see it. I just want to hang it up backwards so you clean that grease.
Taking hate to a whole nother.
I know.
That's love, baby. That's love.
We love. We love you so much.
Yourself. See, y'all the type. If y'all think that's hate, y'all the type that you see your man's with a booger in his nose and you don't want to say nothing because he got a booger in his nose, but you let everybody else see him. Tell him up front, yo, son, your outfit's cool. Or a sister, listen, sis, I know you think you fly, you got your new hairdo, everything's on point, but that little green one right there, it's not working out for you.
It's messing up the look. It's
love.
Instead of just turning away and like, oh god.
Yeah, we gotta do better, y'all. And people gotta stop getting in their emotion. Well, I can't say that to some people, but I guess it's all about the tact and how you say it and present it. You know what I'm saying? But some people need that tough love. That's what it is. All right, I'll catch you at the end of the show. With a mix. All right.
Do some biggies, son.
Anyway.
I am criticizing music lyrics like I can rap at all. I can
True indeed.
Listen.
And then I'm just now I'm calling out for Biggie.
I have no skills in that arena, but my politics is right.
That's what's necessary. Right on. Anyway, you're checking out the Remix Morning Show. I know some of y'all are like, what in the hell is going on? And why is Kalanja here? Sometimes I'm wondering why I'm here, but don't even worry about that. You know what I mean? We're going to make it do what it do, because this is how we do around these parts. You know what I mean? Anyway, shout out to Chairman Fred Hampton in the background. You know what I'm saying? Who was assassinated at age 21. A real, true organizer, a freedom fighter. You know, make sure y'all get y'all weight up and study that man. You know what I mean? Woo!
Y'all got another story? You want me to bring something up? I got something ready.
Bring it out. Bring it out.
So this is actually, a really a crazy story. I don't think this one has been getting enough publicity or spoken about, but of course, it's another police murder of our folks. Activists demand justice after shooting death of double amputee by Huntington Park police. And so basically, I didn't expect the video to be up, so I apologize for that for those who didn't want to see. But activists outraged at the shooting death of a 36-year-old double amputee demanded justice and accountability Monday during a news conference. Says the Coalition for Community Control Over the Police and the family of Anthony Lau Jr. Or Lowe Jr. held the conference to bring access to Lowe's death. It says he was loved. A cousin said as she sobbed. I just want to get to the details of how this person was murdered who was in a wheelchair. This says a spokesman for the family said Lowe was in a wheelchair with both legs amputated at the knees. He was undergoing a mental health crisis when he was shot to death by Huntington Park police Thursday, the spokesman added. Police said they got a call. I'll take this off here. The police said they got a call that a man was stabbed by another man in a wheelchair. Officers said when they arrived on the scene, they found Lowe with a 12-inch butter knife. In a statement, the department claimed they tried to taser Lowe twice, but to no avail. Huntington Park police said Lowe continued to threaten officers with the knife, prompting the fatal shooting. Lowe's family said he could not have been a threat because he was in a wheelchair and they need more answers from law enforcement. So as we just saw in that brief video, these cops were at least 7 to 10 feet away from him and fired on someone in a wheelchair and murdered him. And again, I don't think for whatever reason this happened, I think approximately 3 or 4 days ago. It's not necessarily getting the national attention of some of the other cases, but it is just as horrific. The fact, again, that we have someone with a mental health crisis and that they don't have a shield that they can use to get close to subdue, that there's not something else that they could do beyond stand 10 feet away from this person, again, in a wheelchair, who at the time, it looks like also was falling out the wheelchair or came out the wheelchair, and they still shot and killed this person. Is the height of what we continue to talk about in terms of police violence and police murder on our people. We need to make sure, again, even if folks don't want to share the video, to share the circumstances of what took place. That a double amputee, Black man in a wheelchair who was having a mental health crisis, that the police could find no other way, and no other city authority was called to find no other way to subdue and or stop the person other than taking out a gun and ending this person's life.
Yeah, I accidentally saw the video as I was reading the article, and the video played of the shooting. This gentleman was being pursued by the police. He was actually out of the chair and he was literally running away from the police. He did have this knife in his hand, but I don't care. He was running away from the police. This man was literally running on the stumps of his legs. And you could see the where his pants had been folded underneath, where the rest of the pants were like trailing behind him as he is running away from the police. But he's, looking over his shoulder, trying to see that they're still chasing him. So I don't care what I don't care if the man had a machete in his hand. I don't care what he had in his hand. He was a disabled man who was undergoing a mental health crisis, and the response is to send the pigs with who are armed. to send an armed response to subdue someone who is disabled and is having a mental health crisis. That is the problem. That in this capitalist society, every problem is a nail. So for the pigs, they're the hammer every time.
This is I'm hearing this. It reminds me in a different way of 27-year-old Anthony Hill, who was murdered in DeKalb, Georgia. He was a 27-year-old totally naked veteran who was having a crisis, and this pig, Robert Olson, shot him twice, center mass. He was totally unarmed. He had nothing, and he was naked. And he, like I said, a crisis in broad daylight. You look at this man right here, who a double amputee, and as you said, I didn't see the video, and I don't care to see the video. But you're telling us that he was running on his stumps, right? On his legs, on what he had left, and these cowards murdered him because that's what they did. If this doesn't tell you that we are in the middle of a war, or better yet, a massacre, then I don't know what else to tell you. I'm going to issue a challenge to community organizers around the country, that one of the initiatives that we launch collectively is that we create a system where folks can call us and we can organize mental health specialists to dispatch to go out and deal with the situations, communicate with these brothers and sisters, and talk them off the ledge before they call the police. We need a 3-digit number like a 911 or a 411 or whatever the case is. And I'm issuing this challenge to us as workers, as organizers, because we already know that there are going to be more Anthony Hills. I don't even know if you mentioned the brother's name a few minutes ago, but whatever his name is, we could fill in a blank. Him, her, they, them. It's going down. This is going to be a continuous thing. When Kamal was playing the video and I saw the sister that was speaking, this is anywhere USA.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to. You don't even have to hear the volume. You can keep the volume turned down, and you already know what it is. This is a scene that's all too familiar. Now, the unfortunate thing is there are quote unquote activists who are born out of the rubble. And there are some folks who are sincere about their efforts and their attempts. And there's some folks who become activists once their loved ones are shot or whatever the case is. And the sad thing is, in order to go with the quote unquote brand that they can trust, air quotes, they call on the Al Sharptons and the Ben Crumps. I understand that funeral yesterday for the brother Tyree Nichols. You know, they said they had it at the last location that King spoke at before he was assassinated in Memphis. You have these parasites who are disgusting, because all they do is ambulance chase, and they don't have the capacity, they don't have the integrity or the sincerity to speak to these loved ones and say, listen, we can talk to you, but this is what needs to be done. If we show up, we can't speak for you. We can show up and support, but we're not going to keep leading you down this long road, because what happens is the victims' families become celebrities. And as Daruba pointed out, we have a victim-led movement. So we're constantly reinventing the wheels. We're constantly starting over. And again, it's not a solution. So, you know, I encourage you all. I mean, you look at Kamala Harris, the war hero, the war, I was going to say war thief, war criminal. along with Sharpton with his bobble ass head. You know, this is a scene that you know, I mean that we're going to be haunted by for eternity, man, until we make some type of change. So I'm issuing this challenge, man, and definitely shout out to folks like Cat Brooks, who's over in the West Coast, you know, making efforts to organize another longtime comrade, and I encourage us all to do the same across the country.
Yeah, and I think Mapinduzi in Greenville, North Carolina, are engaged with the community like that, so that when people in the community have experienced those kinds of challenges, they call Mapinduzi, you know, to see if they can help, and that is something, as opposed to calling cops, as opposed to getting involved with any of these people. So that is something that is absolutely being done. But I wanna raise this issue up as kind of like a follow-up, but a connected issue, because it's not just the pigs. It's not just the pigs. And here in DC, we had a recent horrific case of a 12-year-old, 13-year-old child who was killed, murdered by the media here in DC made a big deal about saying that the person who shot this child, Karan Blake, was a homeowner, a licensed and registered gun owner. And when this first happened a few weeks ago, people were making all kinds of excuses for why this person may have done this. Oh, they may not have known, you know, did they know he was a child? Which that it was just so irrelevant to the fact that someone was inside their home at 4 o'clock in the morning, heard a disturbance outside, and their response was to put their clothes on, go get their gun, go outside of their house, and then shoot at whatever the disturbance was. I don't care if it was Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson out there. What's that got to do with you? And why is that your response? But it turns out, after weeks of the Metropolitan Police Department, led by Black Chief of Police Conti, and the city government here in Washington, D.C., led by Black Democratic Mayor Muriel Bowser, making all of these excuses for why the shooter could not be identified from the beginning, because people demanded to know who this person was. They claimed that they couldn't identify him because he wasn't a suspect, and that was just standard procedure. Then the people demanded to know why this person wasn't arrested. Well, you know, we don't have all the details. So this is just standard procedure. Well, it turns out surveillance video footage from the neighborhood showed the entire confrontation, where the man comes out of his house. And let me play a little bit of this video. But apparently, every excuse MPD and the city government used to not identify this man and not arrest him for weeks turned out to be blatant lies. So,
Government employee as well, correct?
yes.
DC government employee Jason Lewis faces second-degree murder charges. Police say he shot Karan Blake after catching the teen breaking into cars outside Lewis's home on Quincy Street Northeast. News 4's Mark Seagraves broke the story on social media this morning. Mark joins us live now from DC Superior Court.
And Mark, there are some dramatic photos and some quotes coming out of the court proceedings, including what may have been Karan Blake's last words.
Yeah, Leon, really heartbreaking when you read the arrest warrant about Karan Blake pleading for his life that evening that he was shot. In court today, Lewis's attorney argued that the case should be dropped and that he should be released, at least for home confinement. But the judge disagreed, saying that Lewis was the first aggressor that night. Surveillance photos released as part of the arrest warrant show 41-year-old Jason Lewis standing at the gate to his courtyard and firing his gun.
Now I'm not going to play the rest of that video because it's just too much. It's too much. But to the argument that people have made that this person didn't know that Karan was a child, video, the surveillance video with audio confirm that after Lewis shot at the car, Karon Blake yelled, "I'm only a kid." And this man shot him anyway. And then after being shot, this child yelled, "I'm sorry, and I am only 12," as this man was shooting at him. So listen, I got into arguments with people in my church the other night as we were having this prayer vigil about, addressing intra-community violence. And I presented the argument, which I always do, that when we talk about the violence in our neighborhoods, we always talk about things, stupid things, these narratives that come from outside of our communities about what's wrong with us, that we create these people that do these things. Oh, we don't raise our kids right, and all these kinds of things. In this case, I think this is a perfect example of the issue that really is the problem that we don't ever want to face, and that is, this is what capitalism causes. Capitalism creates this mental issue that we have, that in order for us to have and maintain a piece of the pie, we have to see people who don't have what we have as threats to the little slice of it that we have, so that the media makes justifications for these people as being homeowners. So that gives the implication that this man was protecting his property, right? And so he was justified in doing what he did because his property was threatened. And we see that is not true, but that does not address the issue that we are so uncomfortable with addressing. And that issue is not, why do we act this way, people who kill other folks in our neighborhoods, but why are we accepting that it is all right for us to see each other as the enemy in a system that treats us all like we're the enemy? How is it that we had less sympathy for this child who was, I don't care if he actually was breaking into cars. I don't care if he was literally sitting in a car that he broke into, sitting on the glass, trying to start it up. It's a car. And the vehicle wasn't even this dude's.
Right. On top of that.
And it's just, it is, there are so many levels to the obscenity of this case. The fact that it was a Black police chief and a Black mayor that made excuse after excuse to the people who were demanding that this person be identified and arrested from the very beginning. Now that this video is released to the public, we understand that what's the first thing the cops are going to do when they investigate? They look for surveillance video. So we recognize they've had this video from the beginning. So they knew this man. They knew all of this from the beginning. So it's a betrayal of the people, of those Black faces in high places.
White supremacy.
And the sacrificial lamb is this Black child. We have got to deal with capitalism and the mental contortions that we accept that causes us to act as if the problem is not this pursuit and insane protection of property over the valuing of people's lives, especially our kids.
This reminds me of the Steph Curry, Aisha Curry story we talked about earlier, when we were talking about how you don't want certain types of folks from different class sectors and financial brackets to be your neighbors. I remember we talked about this story probably a month ago, if I'm not mistaken, on the remix. And I think that one of the things was raised, someone said, where was this boy's family and what was he doing out that time of night, morning, whatever the case was. And then it was later we found out that he was actually raised in a foster home, right? So the child had it bad out the gate, you know. But it listening to this story, man, and again, black folks siding with this murderer, this vigilante that killed this little boy because he was breaking into, quote unquote, breaking into someone else's car. I mean, the fact that you can make excuses for the murder of this child, it is a testament as to where we are as a people. Because for all practical purposes, that's some cracker shit. That's some white folk shit when they're talking about, that's what they do and all this type of stuff. And it's really confusing. So of course the police are going to murder us because we will aid the police's narrative, with the same rhetoric. So it's just, this is a sad place to be, man.
Yeah, it's a sick society where, again, people take guns as like their first option, and they feel empowered because they got a gun on them to do things they would never do without one, right? And so I just think we go back into the history of what this country is. It's a killing, genocide of the native populations, and enslavement of Africans, and everything else is done. But it's also its culture, which it is basically dipped on everybody. And this is the culture that people operate in, that is about their individuals. They got a little something, people out to take what they got. They're not thinking about the larger community. They're not thinking about what we're doing for each other. This is again, the society that now teaches us to kill our own, in ways in which and we tell stories about it in ways in which justify and rationalize it, as opposed to us thinking through what it is that's lacking in our community. What is it that we need to bring to help support folks? But our first effort right now in America is to get to be as close to the empire as possible, and as close to not only the political parts of the empire, but the cultural parts of the empire, to adopt that culture as our culture. And that's what does us great damage as a people.
Yeah, and honestly, I am not sure if what I was told about Quran being in a group home is true. I'm not sure, but I do know one thing. He should be alive to be on punishment. If he, like most kids, because I know I did some sneaking out and some acting a fool when I was a kid. He should be alive to be on punishment for whatever he was doing out there in the middle of the night. Kids do kid stuff. He should be alive to be on punishment for that. He should be alive to learn from his mistake. That, yeah, childish behavior is one thing, but look, you can't let it go too far. He should be alive to learn those lessons and grow up and grow from them.
Mm-hmm.
What he did, whatever it was, whatever led him to it, I don't care what it was. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he was in the middle of doing something he had no business doing at 4:00 in the morning. It didn't warrant a death sentence.
One thing
There
I
was
did
not
learn,
a damn thing that child did and could have been doing that warranted a death sentence.
One thing I did learn is, Jackie, you was bad as hell talking about you sneaking out. Well, you ain't live with us, because where we live, when that street light come on, let your black ass not be in the house. If they say 8:00, show up at 8:01 if you want to. It's gonna be a misunderstanding. You talking about sneaking out the house?
Well, look, people who sneak out and are alive to tell the tale from their mama, like my mama, you had to be just as good at sneaking in as you were at sneaking out. So that's why.
Jackie, low down, boy. See, all this time we thought you was the goody two shoe of the crew. And you was bad as hell.
You can't have a testimony without a test, even if you put yourself in some messed up situations. But anyway, that's another show.
I was gonna say, yes, my sister. Well, speaking of somebody, I was gonna say, the one, the only.
It is here.
That's right. Hey, check this out, yo. We got some more dope shows in the morning before we get out of here. Make sure y'all tune in to learn your
It's that bad title they picked.
Earn Your Liberation.
Yeah, Earn Your Liberation. I don't know why they picked that. They could have done better than that.
Man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Earn Your Liberation, man. Y'all hating on the people's show, man. What's wrong?
But I love the show, but I'm just saying.
The title,
I love the show, but that title. Come on now.
But it's the content. We got good content. We got
Content is
Warrior
fantastic.
Class on Saturday. We got Sundays on Sundays. We got Jackie Lukman coming with some more information Fridays. And we got some more stuff right here on Black Power Media. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Hit that like button, subscribe before y'all get out. Now
we have 14 shows. I just counted yesterday. We have 14 shows and counting on BPM. So we need you all to check in, support what it is we're doing. You know, it's some serious material that's coming on, and we're only getting better. So make sure you stop doing support, and also support that GoFundMe I was telling you about earlier as well, because I think that's important to get down with. But anyway, appreciate you all for supporting what it is we do.
All right, let's get up out of here. Thank y'all remixers and everybody out there in the world. Let's get it.
This is an introduction. This is an introduction. For music, they just be pumping, while hits just be dipping. The intention is for humping the floor. Shining the wood with your jeans with the denim. Don't worry, it's hip-hop. Don't have my money earning concern, and I'll be teaching and learning. Getting high from my rhymes and my looks. Not from bourbon, no solution, no remedy. No pure like a deodorant. Yo, you have to be sure that if you talk up and walk up into my face, that you wouldn't become a big public disgrace. I'll ban you, burn you up and tan you, treat you like the elephant. And man, you would be locked and locked in a jar with a lid hanging on the wall of Michael Jackson's friend. Cause I'm back. In fact, I'm a thriller. I drink milk, that's why I'm a top biller, like a 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 biller.
And she spilled the drink from my 3 wallows. Reached the gate, hungry just ate. Griffin, she got to be to work by 8. This must mean she ain't trying to wait. Conversate, sex on the first date. I state, you know what you do to me. You start from what I don't usually. Then I whipped it out, rubber no doubt. Step out, show me what you all about. Fingers in your mouth, open up the block. Move the G-string down south.
Let's take it here. Positive and LG. Remix Morning Show, y'all. Let's go.
From the drum before I started, I said hit me. Who was kicking flavor and I brought somebody with me? Positive. The gentleman, the rapper, suave, blase. You know Dapper. See, this is not a song about friends, because we make the ends and then we spread the skin. This song becomes a well-known tune, and my mic's gonna bloom like a flower in June. We kick much flavor, and you know that. As smooth as a head on a fed named Kojak. Take the mic to my hand, get callous, and I'll tell you like Ralph Cramden told Alice.
Bang, zoom.
It's up, up, and away. Grand Poobah and Positive K. Lyrics real sweet like candy. It's just like a condom, we keep one hand. Grand Poobah.
Wham, bam, the monster jam. Get up, everybody, into the freestyle to the beat.
And that's how we do it right here.
The monster jam. Get up, everybody, and do the freestyle to the beat.
And we are out of here. Thank y'all once again for tuning in. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in once again to the Remix Morning Show. We'll check y'all out next week. Peace.